Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning, ma'am.
morning, ma'am. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. How are you all?
Fine, ma'am.
Fine,
Fine,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Fine, ma'am.
My screen is visible to you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes. Anyone explain me in last lecture what we did? Means in communication, what we discussed in last lecture.
Encode, decode.
Encode, decode. Okay. Yes, can you tell me your name so I can recognize
Jivesh.
Hitesh?
Jivesh. Jivesh.
Jivesh. Okay. Very good. Anyone can explain me that what is encoding and what is decoding? Which kind of process you can say this is a encoding and this one is a decoding? In simple terms, you don't have to give me any definition or any other things. Just tell me that what is encoding in simple words.
Ma'am,
Yes.
sender message in symbols and letters.
Okay. Encoding. It is called encoding or decoding.
Encoding.
Okay, and who will say what is decoding?
And
Process
decoding
of
is
sending message.
Uh, Please, whosoever answer me, just confirm your name so I can recognize students day by day. So tell me I am this, okay, and answer me, okay? Yes, tell me. Who will say? No one?
ma'am, I am Kush Mewara.
Yes, Kush, tell me.
Uh, Decoding meaning is receiver receive the message and transfer symbols and letters
Okay,
to read the message.
okay. Any other thing we discussed in last lecture except encoding or decoding? Mm, like I asked you
Aspects
a
of
question about
languages.
yes, very good. Aspects of language and what are they?
Structure and texture.
Yes. What is your name?
Keyur.
Yes, KU. Can you explain me what is the structure and what is the texture? How will you define it? This term. Structure means what? Or texture means what? Means in simple sense, you don't have to give me explanation or examples or something. But in English language, if there is a one sentence, like I am Dr. Reena, so what kind of structure it is, or I have used any texture in it? Okay, let me revise last lecture briefly and then we proceed our next point. Okay, so all are there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so in last lecture, what we discussed, like what is the communication? So uh, in simple terms, if I have to say that when two persons share some informations to each other, in simple sense we can say it is a communication, right? I have already explained that communication words, it comes from Latin word communis, right? COMMUNIS. In another thing, I have tell you that if I have to give a definition of communication, So here it is. It refers to a natural activity of all humans, which is to convey opinions, feelings, informations, ideas to others through words, or you can say through body language or signs. So it means if any information you have, when you convey to other person, this process is called communication. Okay, communication, it's a word which is derived from a Latin word communis. In last lecture, I have also asked one question to you, that is business English, or you can say commercial English, it is a different kind of English or not? So there is a, I answered you that there is a no special kind of English for business, or you can say for commerce industry, right? Or commercial aspects. Why? Because English language is the same, but how it is different, how business language, or you can say how commercial language, it is different from our normal English language. So it mainly depends on two aspects. Which aspects? Like every language has two aspects, and these two aspects are structure and texture. Now, if I ask you what is the structure and what is the texture, right? How will you define this term? So structure, it means like I'm Dr. Reena, right? So I, subject, am, it's verb, Reena, you can say object or noun, whatever, right? So this is the structure of this language, right? Subject, verb, and object. And English language, if it is not a passive voice sentence, this is the structure of English sentence. Do you get it? Structure mainly refers to the arrangement of the different parts that forms a sentence, right? So I'm Dr. Reena. So in English language, there will be always a first subject. After that, there will be a verb, and after that, object or noun or other words, whatever you can include it. So in English sentence, this is the main basic structure of a sentence, right? What does it mean, texture? Texture refers to the choice of words. What does it mean? So texture, it means uh, in any spatial, you can say in a particular profession or in a particular group of profession, if any person use spatial terms, or you can say technical terms, or you can say jargons, it means a spatial terms, or you can say technical terms, like you can say shipping out, performer. These are the some technical words which other persons, like other fields person, cannot recognize what does it mean. So such kind of technical words used, it is used in sentence, so that technical words you can refer it as a texture. So now, from the texture aspect, English language, normal English language is differed from commercial English. Now you got the point. In normal English, like if you read any literary work, like Amish Tripaঠি's Nagas, right? The work of the name is Nagas, Nagas. So in that work, you will see that writer use simple English. Simple English, it means he uses such kinds of words that each and every person can understand it. Each and every person can recognize it. What does it mean? Whosoever person is there who have, you can say, a little bit knowledge about English language. right? So he or she can easily read that book. But if any technical book, like you are from a BCA department, right? So if your book is mainly based on computer application aspects, if any art students will read, like literature students will read your book, it will be too, you can say, difficult for him or her to understand. Means English language is the same. There is a subject, there is a verb, there is an object. There is no difference in a sentence, in a structure. But in technical term, they use, like in BCA department or in MBA department, they use such kinds of technical jargons, technical terms. These are the terms which is not easily understood by such other persons who who has not such kind of knowledge about computer application or business management and such kinds of things. So in simple way, any language mainly based on two aspects, structure and texture. Structure means simple sense, subject, and I'm talking about English language. So in English language, there is a subject, verb, and object. And texture, it means a choice of words, technical terms. So my question was, is business English is a different kind of English? So answer will be no. Commercial English or business English is not a different kind of English. It is a normal English. Means normal English, it is English which we use in our day-to-day life. It is that kind of English which literary writers use in their work, right? Professional use in their works. But the difference between commercial English and you can say normal English, the main difference is in texture. Because in commercial English they use such kind of technical terms, right? So from these aspects, from the texture, business English is differs from, not differs, but we can get difficult to understand from in simple terms, like now you got what I mean to say. What does it mean structure and what does it mean texture? Structure, it means simple sentence, and texture, it means you can have to say that it's a technical terms which you can say referred in special branch of knowledge. Okay. Now in last lecture we have already discussed about this thing, like scope of business English. Why English is used in a business, right? What is the main you can say, what are the main aspects that English language is used? So there is also two aspects. The first one is communication to inform. Any person communicate with each other person, right? Like you are talking with your friends. So why you talk? Why you communicate with him? You wanted to share your some feelings or your you wanted to share your ideas. What today? What happened? Such kinds of things. For this thing, you communicate with other person, right? So in business, why communication matters? Why communication is important? So the first one is communication to inform. What does it mean? So in English, communication is important to give information. If like I give you I'm delivering your lecture on the term communication, right? So now moment, what I am doing, I'm informing you, like these are the scope of English, these are the types of communication, what is communication. So we now moment we are communicating with each other for which reason? To inform. What are the main reason? I am now moment I'm communicating with you to inform you about the topic, what is communication, right? So communication is mainly, what is the scope of business English, or you can say what is the scope of communication. It is mainly based to inform other persons, right? How it is and second aspect, you can say second scope of business English, you can say communication to pursued. Anyone can explain me the term, what does it mean pursued? Inform means to give information, right? Inform, to know, to give informations to other about particular thing. What does it mean pursued? Anyone? Any idea? Who wants to say? If it is wrong, it doesn't matter. You just say what does it mean pursued?
To make somebody to do something for a good reason.
Yes, very good. Very good try. In simple sense, if I have to say pursued, it means to convince, right?
Yeah.
How? Sorry? Pursued, it means to convince someone. Like someone to believe something, especially on some aspects, and a person who wants to give sustained effort and that on that particular point. In simple sense, you have to keep in mind one thing: pursued, it means to convince other person, right? So scope of a business English are two. They are two. First one is communication, to inform other persons, to inform your audience, to inform other person, business. You can say our partners, and another scope of business English is communication to pursue. You can say to convince, right? I'm giving you some how these are different in scope that we will learn through some examples. First one, I'm giving you example on communication to inform. So I have written here, first of all I read it, then I will explain you like how in this sentence, how communication is meant to be to inform, right? So what I have written here, it is mainly focuses on subject. First statement I have written here, or you can say para I have written here, like farming provides most of the food we eat. Our chief food crops are cereals or grains. Cereals include maize, rice, and wheat. We also grow barley and gram. In these statements, they just focus on writer who whosoever has written these lines. Writer
मम्मी
mainly focus on the
मला
term,
बीट
or
कापी
you
ना
can
आजी
say
हमड़ो
on the subject. What is the subject of this line? Anyone can say, can you explain me what is the subject in this statement? Writer talks about what in these lines? About, you can say, farming, or it is about food. It is about what things a writer wants to explain here mainly. What is the subject? So here the subject
फूड
is
प्रोडक्ट
mainly subject is a food.
फूड
Like farming provides most of the food we eat, right? Through the farming we can get food. Our chief food crops are cereals and grains. In cereals include maize, rice, and wheat, and we also grow barley and gram, right? So here in first para, in these three sentences,
Shweta.
mainly writer focus
Allah.
on the subject, and the subject is here in this para. Main subject is food. So here writer just wants to inform you, like we eat food, mainly what kind of food crops we are growing, right? So he just simply gives you information,
Mana aja
right?
lagi ko ni.
He is he or she whatever. So in writer does not try to convince you like this is a food and you have to
Huh?
convince it. He just gives you information, like we have such kinds of foods and cereals and grains that we eat. He just gives you information, right? In second line, flies are our deadly enemies because they feed on dirt and rubbish. When they crawl over meat and cake with their dirty legs, they leave all kinds of germs behind and thus poison our food. Right? So, here now, anyone tells me what is the subject of this para? Like in a first para, main subject is about, it is talking about mainly about food. In second para, writer talks about, mainly talks about which thing? About meat, about cake, about germs or flies. Which one is the main subject? No one?
Flies.
Flies. Here is the main
Jam.
No. Uh, Here is the main subject is about flies. Flies, right? Because look, in four sentence, it is mainly, you can say it involves around the word flies. Like flies are our deadly enemies, right? They are our enemies because why? They feed on dirt. They take food on dirt, right? And rubbish.
Pela jo ni lagto.
And when they crawl
ગણપત મોદક
over
જેવું.
meat and cake with their dirty legs, they leave all kinds of
હા?
germs behind,
આવું
thus
મુકાય પેલા
poison
ગણપત
our
દાદા.
food. So flies just take
ક્યારે
food
આવવાની
from
ગણેશ
the
ચતુર્થી?
dirt. When he crawls over our food, flies leave some kinds of germs on it
દિવાળી
and
ગાડી
make our
લાવવાની આપણે.
food in a poisonous way, right? So here the main theme, or you can say main subject, is a fly. In this two sentence, writer just wants to inform you, like these are the things, right? That's it. So communication is mainly here meant to be for just to give you some kinds of information. That's it. Now, another scope of a business English, or you can say another scope of a communication, and it is communication to pursue, to convince. Here I have written like it is mainly focuses on receiver. Persuasive communicator wants the reader to understand the message and to be influenced by it. I just give you one advertisement. Who will read it loudly? What is written on the screen? Anyone? You just have to read it. Whatever you can see on your screen. No one?
Advertisement.
It is advertisement, but you just have to read it. What is written in your screen? Like the HDFC advertisement. After that, what is written?
Now opening a savings or current account with HDFC Bank is extremely rewarding.
Yes, thank you. uh, you just have to read what is in your screen, on your screen, right? So here it is one advertisement which is given by HDFC Bank, and it is now opening a savings or current account with HDFC Bank is extremely rewarding, right? So such kind of communication, it is one kind of communicate. HDFC Bank communicate with their, you can say, clients or audiences. Like now we are opening a kind of account or savings with HDFC Bank is extremely rewarding. Now what does it mean? Like here it is a communication mainly based on a pursued aspects. He wants this kinds of advertisement. It wants the reader to understand the message and mainly to be influenced by it. How? How influenced by it? If you open your account, savings account or current account in HDFC Bank, you will get extraordinary rewards which no other bank now moment it gives you, right? So in other way, in such this kinds of a statement, writer just gives you a statements like information about like food, or you can say about flies. That's it. Writer here or advertisement here, you can say writer does not want to influence you, right? But in this statement, or you can say in this advertisement, this bank just wanted to influence you. Like if you open such kind of account in our bank, you will have so many reward. You will get extremely reward, right? Which now they use the term, they have used the term now. What does it mean? They are offering, means HDFC Bank offering you that now moment no other bank gives you such kind of benefits to you. So in this way, this advertisement just influenced you that to open account in our bank. So now I hope you have a clear idea about communication to inform and communication to pursue. So communication to inform, it means uh, communicate just for the sake of, you can say, to give information or to take information. There is not much more thing about to attract it or to influence each other persons, right, or clients or audience or readers. But in communication to pursued, it means mainly what it wants the readers to understand the message and influenced by it. Okay, so these are the scope of mainly business English, right? Now I hope you have understood the scope of English: communication to inform and communication to pursue. Now in the next aspects, just give me a second, I just change my slides.
मैम वॉइस नहीं आ रही आपकी। आ तो रही है बे।
Now am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I
Yes,
was
ma'am.
I was changing the slide, that's why. Okay. Now, today, in a briefly manner, today I'm discussing about what are the forms and what are the types of communications, right? Today I'm going to explain you in a briefly manner, and I'm giving you some works like you have to whenever you come in the next lecture, you have to give me you can say you have to define these terms at the end of the lecture. I will say that, like today we are going to discuss on in the last 10 minutes basic forms and types of communication. Before that, anyone can tell me that how many types, just leave the type, how many, just anyone can tell me types of communication and what are they? Anyone have any kind of idea? Like one example I give you, group communication. It is a one kind of a communication, right? In last lecture, I asked you that now moment, whatever we are doing, it is called a group communication, right? Classroom teaching, it is a part of, it is a, you can say, example of a group communication where readers are present there and they have their individual routine, right? So another kind of communication, anyone have any idea about it? Group communication, uh,
Written communication,
In communication.
okay, written communication, okay,
Formal communication.
formal communication, okay,
Informal communication.
sorry,
Informal communication.
okay, informal communication. Any other? Okay, so
Verbal.
verbal, yeah, very good. You can say also non-verbal communication too. Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So we will discuss this thing in a detail, but now moment briefly, I just give you an idea about it. So one way to classify communication according to the number of persons who receive the message, right? Sender, I'm a sender, you are a receiver who receiving some informations from me, right? So one classification is mainly based on the number of person, how many persons who are receiving that information, or you can say who gets a message, right? So the first one, it is as a intrapersonal communication. You have to note such kinds of words because I will share my slides to you in your group. But in the next lecture, you have to explain me what is intrapersonal communication, right? Another one is interpersonal communication. What is interpersonal communication? Third one is group communication. Fourth one is mass communication. So, what is a group communication? So, group communication, there are group can be a small or it can be a large, right? But in group communication, receivers are individual. They retain means they keep their identity. You can reply me if I ask you something, you will reply to me. They retain their identity, right? So this kind of communication is called group communication. Now what is the mass communication? Group and mass, in other words, simple sense, we have to say these are the same words in some way, right? But what is the difference between group communication mainly and in a mass communication? So in group communication, now a moment whatever we are communicating with each other, it is called group communication, in which you are a receiver, you are as an individual, you are retaining your individuality. You can give me a feedback, you can ask me a question too, right? So this kind of communication, it is called group communication. Now what will be in mass communication? So in mass communication, that is also a kind of a large group, but how it is different from a group communication? So in mass communication, I just give you one example. Through that example, you can understand it, like a newspaper, like television, radio. So these are the, we can include it, these are the elements, or you can say content, which we can include it in a mass communication. In the newspaper, they inform the information with mass, right? With a large group of people. But in that communication, individual person, or you can say individual, does not retain their individuality. They have a very little scope to feedback. Right now moment in a classroom, you can ask me. If I ask any question to you, you can reply me, right? You can answer me. But in a mass communication, there is the individual does not retain their individuality. They have a very little scope to give a feedback to, you can say the things, or the feedback to that information, about that information, right? So in this way, group and mass, in one way they are the same, in some way, in simple words we have to say. But in group communication, individual retain their individuality. In mass communication, there are very little scope for that thing, right? So these are the main difference between group communication and mass communication. In mass communication, you can give an example like a newspaper, television, radio, any other media aspects, right? Classroom teaching, institutional teaching, right? These are the, you can say, presentation. These are the examples of a group communication. Now, in the next lecture, you have to tell me which kind of communication we can say it is interpersonal communication. What interpersonal communication, what does it mean? And what is intrapersonal communication? You just, I will explain you what does it, but you just get some information about it. Get this kind of communication, we can say interpersonal communication. You can explain me in Hindi too from your side. Okay, so what is the interpersonal communication? What is intrapersonal communication? What is the normal, you can say verbal communication? How verbal communication is different from non-verbal communication? And these are, I have some, you can say some words, you can say some terms, like which we can include it in non-verbal communication, like proxemics, like kinesics, haptics, chromics. What are they? Which kind of a communication happen? And we can say, we can use in these terms. So such things we will discuss in our next lecture. So please at least just leave that you can say proxemics or kinesics or haptics, such kinds of communication aspects. You just have to explain me in the next lecture what is intrapersonal communication and what is interpersonal communication. Okay, so in next lecture we will talk about another types of communication. So I hope you have enjoyed this lecture? Any question from your side?
No, ma'am.
Any question?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Now today, okay. So today we have discussed about like a scope of communication, communication to inform, communication to pursue. Communication happens just for the sake of information, another kind to pursue, to convince other persons, especially in business, like through the advertisement, through the term, by the offering and all. Another thing we have learned that business English, it's a part of English only, but it is different from our normal English because the texture, or you can say technical terms, are little bit different from our day-to-day routine normal English. Another things we have also learned that what on the basis of the receiver, on how many persons you can say that get a message from you, from through that we can divide, or you can say we can classify our communication mainly in a four parts: intrapersonal communication, interpersonal communication, group communication, and mass communication. Group and mass is a kind of a group of people, but mainly in group communication, mainly individual, or you can say receiver, retain their individuality. They can ask something, they can feedback something, right? But in a mass communication, they don't retain that individuality. Classroom, institutional communication, we can include it in a group communication, and in a mass communication we can include like television or newspaper or media and all things, right? In next lecture we will discuss other another kinds of another types of communication, like intrapersonal, what is interpersonal communication, what is verbal communication, non-verbal communication, what is the proxemics communication, what is the chromics, what is the haptics, right? So I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. We will meet you in next lecture. Have a good day to all of you.
Ma'am, attendance.
Yes, I have already taken.